Well, hello everyone. My name is Rafel, Cal State Fullerton alumnus, class of 2010. And welcome back to our virtual series of Cooking with a Titan. Now, if you missed it last season, I made a delicious bacon mac and cheese with simple ingredients, very simple recipe, easy to follow. There were a number of other recipes submitted by a number of other Cal State Fullerton alumni. So if you haven't already checked it out, go in. We are on YouTube, Cal State Fullerton alumni. Today we're going to be making delicious, simple chilaquiles. The ingredients are very basic, very easy. The recipe is going to be very easy to follow. Now there are a number of different ways for anybody to make chilaquiles, but I'm going to be trying to focus on one tool in my kitchen, and that is going to be the oven. There will be a little bit of cooking on the stove, but for the most part everything will be done through the oven. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Now the ingredients are really very simple. As you can see, we have one whole chicken breast. We have an onion, and we probably won't even use the entire onion, about half maybe. A garlic, so just a clove or two. We don't need the whole garlic. 4 tomatoes. We have cilantro, jalapeños, cream, chipotle peppers, and of course tortillas. Now, since the chicken's going to be the longest to cook, we want to get that one into the oven first thing. So what I like to do is open it up a little bit just so that it cooks a little bit faster. So we're just going to open it up, quick butterfly cuts, nothing too fancy. There we go. Just so it helps to bake it evenly and really help to reduce the cooking time as much as possible. Now with that, we're going to go ahead and drizzle some olive oil on there. Just a little bit. Spread it on, don't be afraid. Put in a pinch of salt. Nothing too fancy. Put it right onto your baking sheet, and let's do the backside. So a little bit more olive oil. Oh, it's a little bit too much. It's all right. Not a big deal. Again, another little pinch of salt. And that is ready for the oven. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I'll pop it in and bake it for roughly 20 to 25 minutes. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and put it in to the lower rack. And just let that bake. Next, on a clean cutting board, of course, you don't want to use the same one that you used the chicken with. You're going to take about 8 to 10 tortillas, your choice. Usually 2 tortillas is about 1 serving, and you want to cut them up into little triangles. So just halves and thirds ought to do it. So there you go, easy peasy. Same thing with this one. There we go. Now, we're going to put them on a baking sheet. It doesn't have to be a baking sheet like this one. It could be whatever oven-safe container you might have. Let's get them all on there. I'm going to spread them out. And just like with the chicken, we're going to drizzle them with some olive oil. And if you don't have olive oil, you can use any kind of oil. Canola oil, corn oil, your choice. Avocado oil. There we go. Try to make sure that they're all evenly coated. Or as best as evenly as we can get them. There we go. Now the alternative to this, of course, is actually pan frying them individually, which can be pretty time consuming, and well, it requires a whole lot more oil than this. So, like I said, this is just an easier process, if you will. And we're going to put those tortillas in the oven to join the chicken. And this will take anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes, depends on how crispy you want them. And then we move on to the veggies. Now we need to get the veggies ready for our salsa that goes into the chilaquiles. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this onion here. Of course, we don't need the whole onion, but I like to slice it into rounds. There we go, maybe a little bit more. Set that aside and just place them on your pan. There you go. Now you notice that was roughly about a half of the onion. Our tomatoes, they have been cleaned. Those can go straight onto the pan as they are. The jalapeños. Now, the jalapeños are somewhat optional. If you don't like heat at all, you can omit the jalapeños altogether. My household doesn't eat a heck of a lot of spicy, so one jalapeno will be just fine. Again, if you want to reduce some of that spice, you can open it up and take out the seeds. But otherwise, the amount of jalapenos will be your call. And finally, of course, the garlic. 1 clove of garlic. Like with everything else, you want to drizzle a little bit of oil. And there we go. Don't be afraid. Try to get it in there. There we go. Beautiful. A little bit on here, a little bit on the garlic. So let's go ahead and put that into the oven as well. There we go. And at this point, that chicken has been in there for about 10 minutes. Tortillas have been in there for about 5. And now our veggies are going in. So at this point, all of our ingredients are pretty much in the oven. There isn't very much left to do, but wait and make sure that everything is cooked thoroughly and properly. And then it'll be a quick run through the blender and just a quick warm up through the skillet. You'll see it'll be nice and easy. While we're waiting, while everything is roasting in the oven, let me tell you a little bit about the Alumni Association. So we have a number of fun activities, fun programs available to not only our Titan alumni, but current students and our Titan family as a whole. So if you're watching this, you are aware of the Cooking with the Titan virtual series, where we share a number of different recipes available for you guys to take and make your own. We had a virtual wine tasting a couple of weeks ago, which was a huge success. I believe we had something like 65 people attending, and with a strong demand for another virtual wine tasting. We had a virtual camp out night where families were able to purchase a camp out kit, which included s'mores and other goodies for the family to enjoy, to share stories, play games, again through Zoom and virtually. And we're continuing to look for different ways to continue to engage and have fun as a Titan community. So if you have any suggestions or any ideas that you might like to see in the future, please leave a comment down below. Let us know. Reach out to your fellow Titan ambassadors and help us find out what the next great event might be. So we're always looking for suggestions from you. At this point, we're almost there. So while we continue to wait for our chicken, tortillas, and veggies, let's go ahead and start chopping up some of the cilantro here, huh? Very easy. Now this, we'll primarily be using it for garnish, so there we go. And now we continue to wait for the items in the oven to be ready. Now let's take a look. Our tortilla chips have been in the oven for about 10 minutes, and look at them. They're looking nice and crispy. That is done, and I can smell the heat from the jalapenos and smell the onions. Our chicken has been in there for about 15 minutes, so it's almost there. It looks like it could be ready. We'll give it just a few more minutes before we take it out and check and see the internal temperature. So our chicken at this point has baked for about 20 minutes, 23 minutes or so. Let's take it out. Let's take a look and see what the internal temperature is. Now, if you don't have a digital thermometer, you're gonna have to kind of use your best judgment. With chicken, of course, you definitely don't want to eat it undercooked. And we're looking for about 165, so it looks like we hit it. Probably just a little bit over, but 165 and 170, that's right around where we want it. Again, it took me right about 20 to 23 minutes in the oven. So that chicken is ready. We can let it rest for a little bit, let it cool down before we shred it. There we go now. It's been about 20 minutes. All of this delicious stuff has been in the oven. There we go. Look at those tomatoes. Those onions are nice and grilled. They look perfect. Now, since everything is hot, you might want to use some tongs for this, but we want to transfer all of this over here. Straight into the blender. The garlic, tomato. Ooh. Look at that. And if you want, you can take the skin off. Look at that. It comes right off. No problem whatsoever. If you have no objections to just using your hands, use your hands, but be very careful because it is all very hot. And then your jalapeños. What do you do with the jalapeños? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we're not going to eat the stems, of course. I'm going to take those right off. So, take it off, take it off. And again, if you want it to be less spicy, take the seeds out. If you don't mind the heat, go ahead and leave them in. Now, to the blender, we're going to want to add that cream that we had set aside. And also the chipotles. Now again, I already have 2 jalapeños in there, and I'm adding some chipotle. I personally am a fan of chipotles. But even then, I don't need the whole jar or the whole can of chipotles. This is about 7 ounces. I'm probably going to throw in maybe about 3-4 ounces. There we go. Oh, well, looks like a little bit more than that went in. Shouldn't take too long. And now with a towel or something, make sure that it doesn't spray all over you. Take the lid off and transfer it to a skillet. Look at that. Oh my goodness, if you could smell the chipotle. Turn it on. There we go. I'm gonna throw in some salt again. Seasoning. There we go. So shouldn't take too long to bring up to just a soft simmer. Look at that. And then taste, always taste. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's perfect. There we go. Now that it's slowly simmering, let's get these tortilla chips in there. Stir them in, get them all nice and smothered with that delicious sauce. I'm gonna bring that down to low. Now we haven't forgotten that chicken, have we? What we're gonna do, we're gonna take 2 forks, or you can do this by hand if the chicken has cooled down enough. But essentially just shred it. Look at that. Should come apart nice and easy. There you go. Now we're pretty much ready to plate it up. And there you have it. Chilaquiles. Obviously, this is way too much for me to have. At least in one sitting, that is. Look at that. Thank you for watching Cooking with the Titan. I'll see you next time, guys.